Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today I'll be taking a look at the RX 570, part of AMD's RX 500 series. These new releases are essentially tweaked and overclocked refreshes of the RX 400 GPUs, which were great budget performers already. But can this mid-range refresh handle popular gaming titles when paired with a Pentium G4560? Let's take a look. Today's build will feature the RX 570 from Gigabyte. Due to its Polaris architecture and high clock speed, it does require an 8-pin PCIe power adapter. Paired with it is Intel's Pentium G4560, commonly referenced as the best budget CPU of early 2017. I'll be putting this combo to the test in a few popular esports titles, including Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Overwatch, as well as a few more intensive AAA titles, including Grand Theft Auto 5, Witcher 3, and Battlefield 1. Before we get started, keep in mind that all game footage shown will have a slightly lower FPS due to recording. Even on max settings though, this duo easily handles Counter-Strike Global Offensive, outputting an average of 147 FPS and rarely dropping below 100. Buttery smooth even for competitive players. Moving on to a more recent and intensive title, Overwatch performed amazingly even on the Epic preset. With an average FPS of 77 and the occasional drop below 60, it was very playable. For a solid above 60 FPS, a quick drop to the Ultra setting is all it took. Allowing GTA 5 to automatically change the settings gave a mix of high to very high presets. Although the performance was typically solid at these settings, there were drops in high density areas like the city center. At these settings, the gameplay averaged around 55 FPS with noticeable drops into the 30s. After tweaking a few of the more intensive settings, I was able to get a much more stable FPS of around 55 to 75 on average. I would highly suggest taking some time to research optimizations for this title, especially when dealing with low to mid-grade hardware. Swapping over to The Witcher 3 further cemented the medium to high preset performance of this combo. With both the graphics and the post effects set to medium, the game averaged at around 58 FPS and rarely dropped into the 40s. Despite these lower settings, the game looked great, and the stable FPS is a huge bonus. Keep in mind you'll probably see some drops in more intensive areas, especially where the CPU is hit harder or the 4GB VRAM is maxed out. Moving on to Battlefield 1 offered a great performance in the campaign, even on max settings, outputting an average of 58 FPS and only ever dropping into the 40s. The game looked fantastic and played very smoothly. If you're interested in minimum 60 FPS gaming, dropping the graphics to high would easily help achieve that. Switching over to the multiplayer gave expected results with the FPS noticeably dropping on the higher presets. Moving down to a healthy medium gave playable results, however you could really start to see the G4560 start to hit its limits in the dense areas and physics-based events. On these lower settings I was able to get an average of 54 with drops into the 30s during intensive scenes. Overall, performance was fairly good, especially considering the RX 570 and the G4560 have a combined cost of under $250. However, the G4560 seemed to be a bit of a bottleneck for AAA titles. If you intend on playing CPU-intensive games, you want to keep those settings on a low to a medium. The RX 570 is a solid 1080p performer, easily handling fairly heavy loads. If you're looking for a under $200 step up from an older GPU or an entry-level card like the RX 460, this may be an excellent choice for you. Just make sure that your power supply can handle the 150-watt TDP. Well, that should just about wrap it up. I hope y'all enjoyed this closer look at the RX 570. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more budget-friendly hardware and advice. See you all next time.